Ukraine is portrayed by the Western media as this democratic nation fighting evil Russia. Many politicians and supporters of President Volodymyr Zelensky say they defend democracy and freedom against Russian tyranny. However, the reality is not so black and white. The Ukrainian government is also using the war to crack down on those who reject the capitalist system. Since April 2024, Bogdan Syrotiuk is held by the Security Service of Ukraine, SBU. They have now charged him with treason under martial law. Syrotiuk is an opponent of the capitalist Ukrainian state and opposes Russian imperialism. Yet Zelensky declared that any opposition to his government means supporting Russia. 25-year-old Bogdan Syrotiuk is a Ukrainian revolutionary of the Young Guard of Bolshevik-Leninists, a Trotskyist youth group. Like many Trotskyists, Syrotiuk opposes Russian imperialism and the attempts of Moscow to conquer Ukraine. But unlike many Western-style Democrats, Syrotiuk also rejects the Ukrainian government and state, which he denounces as capitalist and not in service of the Ukrainian working class. Since February 22 of 2022, Ukraine is under martial law. The capitalist government uses the martial law to imprison anyone they declare to be loyal to Moscow. Last year, the Security Service of Ukraine, the SBU, arrested Bogdan Syrotiuk. For 12 months now, he is held in a SBU prison, and his health has deteriorated. Ukrainian prisons are bad, and prisoners are not getting proper treatment. The Ukrainian state claims in April 2025 that Syrotiuk has engaged in the preparation of publications commissioned by representatives of a Russian propaganda and information agency, the World Socialist website. The reason why the Ukrainian capitalist state is portraying Bogdan Syrotiuk as a supporter of Russian imperialism is because he and the World Socialist website denounce the Zelensky government as fascist. Revolutionary socialist media does not agree with them. But to arrest and imprison Syrotiuk is undemocratic and an attack on the freedom of speech of anti-capitalists. Ukraine does have a fascist problem, with many far-right elements working inside the army and secret service. Bogdan Syrotiuk is right to denounce this reality, which is ignored in the Western media. If you denounce the state and its leaders, you should never be arrested. With Syrotiuk arrested last year, the Zelensky government has exposed itself as undemocratic and not fighting for freedom. This is something you will never hear in the Western media. They will never tell you of people like Bogdan Syrotiuk, who are arrested on the false charge of supporting Russian propaganda. The World Socialist website is not promoting Russian imperialism. It stands in complete opposition to Moscow and its criminal invasion. The real reason Syrotiuk was arrested lies in his opposition to the capitalist state in Ukraine. Communist thinking in Ukraine is officially banned since 2015. And so the Young Guard of Bolshevik-Leninists is, in theory, an illegal organization. If you support the government of Ukraine, you are free to say whatever you want. Moscow is saying the same thing. In this, the capitalist regimes in both countries are repeating each other. Ukraine is arresting its anti-capitalist critics, just as Russia is doing. Revolutionary socialists must expose the Zelensky regime for what it is, a dictatorial nationalist regime. We therefore denounce Zelensky for his use of dictatorial methods. Unlike the World Socialist website, we do not call Ukraine fascist, despite the arrest and imprisonment of Bogdan Syrotiuk. Zelensky is leading an authoritarian nationalist government based on the capitalist system. Yes, fascist elements are active and protected by the capitalist state, but fascism does not rule Ukraine. Even the Putin regime in Russia or the Trump administration are not fascist, despite having many elements of it. We call on workers and youth to support Bogdan Syrotiuk and the Young Guard of Bolshevik-Leninists. His case must be heard by millions, so that the Zelensky government is exposed. This is something the Western world will try to hide. They have already hidden the reality that Ukrainian soldiers have committed war crimes against captured Russian soldiers. We know that some prisoners of war were murdered by far-right Ukrainian commanders. Ukraine tries to hide its far-right problem by only focusing on Russian imperialism and its crimes. People like Bogdan Syrotiuk are unwanted because they expose reality, that Ukraine is not the golden angel in this war. We say, free Bogdan Syrotiuk and the 2015 anti-communist laws, and the tolerance of far-right elements inside the security service of Ukraine. Full investigation into war crimes committed by the Ukrainian army. Stop all Western military supplies to Kiev. No to the capitalist government of Vladimir Zelensky. Workers of Ukraine need to rally against the state and Russian imperialism for a socialist Ukraine that can rally workers in a socialist revolution to overthrow both the Kremlin and the Kiev regime and the whole capitalist system across the former USSR.